Please welcome Hari.
The slides are enough.
Sorry?
The slides.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? I'm the last talk today, and I'm standing between you and going out and partying in Vegas. I'll try to make this quick and interesting for you. So who am I? Like Neil said, I'm a security engineer/lead in the marketplace, in the security team here in Atlassian, and I focus primarily on ecosystem and marketplace. A quick show of hands. How many people here are like developers who are not marketplace vendors, but just focusing on building apps for your companies and like building workflows and all those things? How many of you are marketplace vendors? Ooh, that's a lot, nice. And how many of you are just customers, like interested in marketplace generally? Awesome, awesome. So my talk is sort of focused on sharing some security knowledge with you, and hopefully all these personas will get some data from what I'm sharing, and also sharing some of the things that we are planning to improve the security story around marketplace. I'm going to start off with a cheesy quote here. Security is as strong as the weakest link. This is an often quoted phrase in the security industry, primarily because a security defender needs to get everything right. An attacker just needs to get one thing right. So they just need to find that one security hole, and that will be enough for them to be able to get into your networks, get into your apps, and get access to data that they shouldn't be having access to. In the context of Atlassian, marketplace is often considered to be that weak link. Why would a customer think marketplace is that weak link? Let's see a typical Atlassian Connect app, a cloud app. You have all these things that you need to talk to that are hosted and administered by Atlassian, like the Jira Cloud App, the webhooks, the REST APIs, and sort of the JavaScript APIs for the Connect app to be able to interact with our application, with Jira Cloud, for example. For a third-party app to function, they need to have their own app server, which hosts the app, and also sort of a database to access or store data that they need for the app to function. From the perspective of a customer, they can ask Atlassian about everything that Atlassian hosts and maintains, and we put in a ton of investment to be able to answer questions on the security and compliance initiatives that we are working on, but we don't have much visibility into the marketplace apps. Our customers don't have much visibility into them as well. So they trust Atlassian. They now need to start trusting these third-party marketplace apps in order to start using them as part of their deployments and whatnot. So that's one of the reasons why marketplace is generally considered to be that weak link, and customers are a little wary about using marketplace applications. It also comes down to security perception. How many here think Android is insecure? It is. I mean, Android is particularly secure, and it's been better over time. And if you compare between an iOS device and a vanilla Android device like Pixel, they pretty much have very similar security controls and security capabilities. But that said, the Play Store has gone through much changes over the years and has been the subject of many security issues in the past. Companies have found malware in the Play Store. Companies have found vulnerable applications in the Play Store. So that adds to the perception. The less you invest in security, the sort of perception around that product also starts degrading and takes a lot of time to achieve that type of security comfort that customers want from the platforms. Atlassian Marketplace is sort of in that position right now. The other thing to consider is enterprise software companies are sort of defining the security standards for app stores. Think of Salesforce AppExchange, ServiceNow Trusted, or Intuit, or Slack even, for example. All of them have either started doing security activities, or they are in the process of, they already have established security programs and trust programs that help in the security posture of marketplace apps. So what is it you can start doing as a new developer in the marketplace or as an in-house developer focused on building apps for your tenants in the cloud. First up, I would suggest you thinking about reducing attack surface. There are many types of credentials that you get access to while you are hosting your Connect app in the cloud. Some of them include your shared secret that you get as part of being a Connect app, or if you're a 3LO app, the access tokens and refresh tokens. If you're a Connect app, the JWT tokens. All those things are sort of credentials that give access to the user's account and their tenants. You should ensure that you are storing them properly and also encrypting them so that even if there is a compromise of your database, it doesn't immediately mean compromise of these tokens. Think about the customer data that you're storing in your apps. If possible, just don't store them. That's the best thing you can do. But if you have to store customer data, think about storing them encrypted in your servers when they need to be stored. Think also about the scopes that you ask for. If you do not need an admin scope, don't ask for it. If you do not need act as user impersonation scope, don't ask for it. And finally, the two URLs that you configure as part of your apps, being a 3LO app or an iframe app, those form the base security standard, or sort of the baseline security, because if they get compromised, the applications behind them get compromised, then attackers can get access to the tokens, the customer data, and all those things. So these URLs, whatever apps are backing these URLs, they are very critical when you think about security in general, and make sure they don't have critical security issues. The other thing is around security best practices. How many have seen these articles in our developer portal? A few of them. I should have put a Go link here, my mistake, but if you go to developer.atlassian.com, we have published from generic security guidelines we want our apps to be following. Also read through the security incident management guidelines. I'll be touching upon them at a later point in the slide. We being Atlassian, we being the host of Marketplace, we get reports about security vulnerabilities in Marketplace apps. And these are apps that are listed in the Marketplace, not private apps. We typically take these reports and share it with the developers and help them fix these things over time. There are two common issues we see in apps. This is based on a very limited subset of data. We don't get a lot of visibility into types of vulnerabilities. But based on the reports we have gotten so far, there are two common vulnerabilities we see often. The first one is broken access control. This is sort of the nightmare of any security vendor, any cloud vendor out there. What broken access control means is the app ends up returning data that it should not be returning to a user who doesn't have access to it. This often results in a cross-tenant data exposure, where a user is one tenant get access to another tenant. This is a fixable problem, and the only thing you should be doing is ensuring that you check for permissions before returning any data back to the users. Make sure you are not unintentionally returning data back to the user, and your authorization frameworks are always checking the user context before returning data. The other type of security vulnerability we see often is code injection. This is also sort of the nightmare scenario where there is a vulnerability in your application which can allow attackers to execute code on your servers or through your application. We have seen this happen two ways. One is unpatched libraries. You're using a vulnerable version of GoScript. You're using a vulnerable version of curl or Tomcat or any other library out there. Ensure that you're patching them often and again, because you need these libraries can introduce security vulnerabilities in your code base. The other reason why we see code injection is when apps trust user data. You should not trust any user data. Always ensure that you do not take business logic decisions or any sort of execution decisions based on user data. Ensure that it's sanitized properly before you do anything with it. So that's in terms of application security. Now, you are a marketplace vendor, and you want to be a successful cloud vendor, and you have been good with app security practices. That sometimes is not enough to be successful in the cloud. The SaaS vendor ecosystem, like the big Microsofts and the Salesforce and Box, Atlassian, all of them have kind of defined the security standard for cloud applications. They continuously invest in security to ensure that they can satisfy customer expectations around what type of security controls these cloud vendors have. And that's why customers expect better security, because they have seen it in other SaaS products out there. And if your security story is good, you typically have a good chance selling better in the cloud and being able to reach a ton of customers. All this sounds daunting, and this definitely sounds a lot of work. But if you're using a cloud vendor like AWS or GCP or Azure, you actually get these for free. I'll point them out in the next slide. From the Atlassian perspective, based on what we see in terms of customer requests around our security practices and our compliance practices, in the server world, it was pretty simple. There were a few requirements that customers would ask for, and we would be able to either achieve them, or the customers were flexible in us meeting or not meeting those requirements. But when you come to the cloud, customers typically have a ton more requirements. Continuous security testing is one of them. If you notice, in the server world, the customers only cared about applications. In the cloud, they actually care about more than just your application. They want to ensure that you are scanning your infrastructure. They want to ensure that you are scanning your environments. They want to ensure that you are scanning your code. There is a ton of security testing that customers have come to expect in the cloud world. There is also security bug bounty, which helps with continuous security testing for you. And Atlassian has been very happy hosting a bug bounty for the past 2 to 3 years. And that's something you should also think about as a marketplace vendor. Then there is the security SLAs, where Atlassian goes out and actually publishes our bug fix policy and sort of promises our customers that we will fix critical issues within a certain time frame, medium issues within a certain time frame, and all those things. Customers have come to expect that from all cloud apps. Security incident management is another big one. Customers are sort of accepted the fact that security incidents happen, security breaches happen. It all boils down to how you respond to them, how you are able to be transparent about what happened, and how you are able to provide the right set of information back to the customers around what happened, when it happened, and what it affected. So that's really critical if you're a vendor in the cloud space, and you want to ensure that customers are comfortable with your apps. So that's the security assurance side of things, right? What about security features? What kind of security features do customers ask for? There is a ton other like SSO-related and authentication-related ones I'm not covering here, but I want to highlight audit logs. Customers want to ensure that you have the right set of audit logs for all the activity that is happening with your infrastructure, within your infrastructure, and you also provide the right set of audit logs around the activity happening in your application. So an application-level audit log feature and gathering logs amongst all the different activity that is happening within your infrastructure. Now, vendors like AWS cannot help you with your application audit logs. I mean, there are services out there, but it's not like a turnkey solution. But when it comes to your infra, then there is a ton of features that vendors like AWS provide you. If you're on the AWS, turn on CloudTrail, CloudWatch, use Security Hub, Trusted Advisor. All those things will be able to provide you the set of information that you need to enable better audit logging. The other sort of table stakes feature in cloud is encryption at rest and in transit. I'm not even going to talk about in transit because that's like a very basic security thing that you should be doing. You should have SSL across all sorts of your apps exposed to the internet. But encryption at rest has become table stakes if you're storing customer data in the cloud. And guess what? A lot of AWS services support it by default. Think of EBS, think of S3, think of different RDS services like DynamoDB and all those things. They support encryption at rest, and you can easily take advantage of them. You don't need to worry about thinking what encryption algorithm you should be using, or you don't need to worry about key management, key rotation, and all those things. AWS will take care of that for you. The other set of controls, internal controls that customers typically ask for is strong authentication and strong access controls. Why would a customer care about your internal authentication practices? Why would a customer worry about how you deploy code? Essentially, they want to ensure that you are mature in your internal deployment and internal data access practices. Atlassian actually has put in a lot of effort to define a customer data access process, and we want to be really transparent around when we would need access to customer data and when a customer has to consent for us to be able to even do anything with their data, right? So customers expect that level of transparency and expect that level of controls in your environments. Certifications. That's another table stakes thing that customers have come to ask for in the cloud world. We understand that certifications are hard, it's a lot of effort and money. But if you just start your programs or think about certifications and model your controls based on what these certifications provide, that goes a long way in achieving these certifications over time. So even if you're able to answer a lot of questions in the green in the vendor security questionnaire based on what you have invested for these certifications, over time, you will be able to achieve these certifications. So start thinking about those certifications if you want to be successful in the cloud space. One thing I forgot to mention is AWS, Azure, and GCP have these certifications for a ton of their services, and sometimes you implicitly get those certifications because you're using those services. So ensure that you have that as part of your planning when you're thinking about a service to be used to store customer data. Then there is whole thing about privacy policy and GDPR. We have spoken a lot about it. I'm not going to cover that in this talk. So I did mention about continuous security testing, right? How can you achieve continuous security testing? It does sound daunting. But if you think about it, Atlassian over time, security industry over time has kind of shifted left. There is a ton of different tools out there in the market today and open source tools out there in the market today that help you build or link some of these tools or use some of these tools very early in your pipeline to be able to identify security controls, security issues to be fixed early and often. For example, let's say you want to ensure that you do not want any vulnerable packages in your code base. Then you can look at dependency check, Snyk, SourceClear, or Retire.js. They're all pretty well-known tools, well-supported, and is able to support many different tech stacks out there. Same thing about, like, for example, you want to scan your external environments for vulnerabilities. So the ones in the blue are vendors, so they are paid tools. You need to buy them. The ones in the black have an open source version. They may be vendors, but they do have an open source version, which we have seen to be really useful and something you can take advantage of. Just because we are mentioning the vendor here doesn't mean that we are endorsing the vendor, but we have seen these vendors to be good based on our sort of conversations with different security teams and also our, our experience using these tools. So why am I here? All the things I mentioned before is, though it sounds easy, it can also be daunting, right? Like, some of our vendors are pretty small shops, and they would need assistance in getting these up and running and all those things. And that's why we are building an ecosystem and marketplace security team. Right now, the team is pretty small, but what we are focused on is ensuring that we are thinking about strategies, we are thinking about tooling, workflows, and processes that we can provide to these vendors to enable them to improve their security posture. So if you're a 5-person shop or a 10-person shop, it's probable that you haven't really thought about security yet, or this security sounds like a big beast for you to go after, right? So that's one of the things that we are aiming to solve with this new team. Expect to hear more in the future summits and app weeks and whatnot, right? Now, this team doesn't mean that you should not invest in security. I want to call that out right away, because you know better about your product, your code base, your infrastructure, so you will be in a better position to invest in security practices and security things for your company. But we are here to help you out. So how are we planning to help you out? There are two kinds of activities that we are thinking about, and some of which are in the process of deployment and implementation, right? First is the snapshot in time activities. We want to treat marketplace vendors as vendors that we would consider using, like Atlassian would consider using, and start performing vendor security reviews on them to understand where the gaps lie. where do they need help on, what kind of security posture do we see across the different marketplace vendors, and starting to enable them to understand how we can help them. This also provides us visibility into what's going on, and start using that as a feedback loop to go back and make platform improvements and product improvements and all those things. The continuous monitoring thing is the one I'm really excited about. Let me talk about the bug bounty platform. Like I said, Atlassian is really successful, has been really successful hosting a bug bounty, and we have learned a lot by using a bug bounty, right? So what we want to do is come out with a bug bounty platform with a partner like Bugcrowd or HackerOne, for example, and enable our vendors to start hosting bug bounties in those platforms. We're also looking into extending our internal Atlassian security tools. Like, we build a lot of tools internally. We use a lot of open source tools internally. We want to package them in such a way that it is available to our vendors and can be used by them to spot security vulnerabilities. We're also thinking about security scanning at scale. That's sort of a difficult problem to solve, but how can we identify apps in our, how can we identify vulnerabilities in our vendor apps by some automated tool and be able to give that feedback to the vendors? What is it we want from you? The first thing we want is sort of a commitment to security. You're in the cloud, you want to be successful in the cloud app space, then start thinking about security and start thinking about some of these certifications. Go check out the Atlassian Trust website. And the reason why I'm saying that is we have spent a lot of effort in improving the security of our cloud products, and we have been really open about the kinds of things we do in the security space, and compliance and privacy and reliability, right? So go check them out and start trying to mirror some of these activities. More often than not, you should be able to start doing something very similar, even start building your own trust website and be really open about what is that you're doing in terms of security. So that's essentially my talk so far. All these are sort of plans, and we're looking to build it over time. But I'm here all day today to be able to answer any questions or any feedback you may have.
All right. Thanks, Hari. All right, we already have some hands in the air. 1 second.
Hi, got a question. Is Atlassian planning to offer a database as a service for marketplace vendors to kind of short-circuit a lot of the risks and security holes?
So if I understand right, this is similar to like the DynamoDB or something that AWS is offering.
Anything, could be Postgres, yeah. Anything.
So we don't have plans to do that, but we've been sort of talking about it internally, more along the problem statement around what can we do to ensure that like data lives within Atlassian and never reaches customer or vendor servers. That's definitely something we are thinking about. It's just a matter of trying to solve it.
Hi. You said you guys would be packaging some open source tools for vendors and offering them. Would you guys be maintaining those, like patching them, taking care of any issues within those tools and stuff like that?
If I understand this right, if we package them, will we maintain them is what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah. So we want it to be a mature open source tool that we can provide you. So definitely we'll be maintaining them and ensuring that it's up to date.
Okay. In another talk, people were talking about like avoiding persistence altogether and using entity properties on both cloud and server, or I imagine active objects on the server side. So anyway, I just mentioned that because it's not it wasn't necessarily a security inspiration for them. It was more of along the lines of we just don't want to deal with that data at all. In terms of the A, privacy, but B, like performance and cost of just having to deal with that stuff.
Exactly, yeah, right. Like, I mean, we already support app properties and entity properties.
Yeah.
And I mean, not all apps will be able to use them,
Sure.
But if you can, just stick with them.
Yep. Any other questions for Hari? Oh, right.
is there any vendor that you can reference as a reference? Like this is the real like the cool like vendor that follows everything. So I'm gonna check on like what they've done.
Atlassian,
You want?
we are a vendor in the marketplace.
So I can refer to your like documents and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, like the atlassian.com/trust.
Uh-huh.
You should be able to see all the security things that we are working on, and we have right now.
Okay, so there's no currently existent vendor on the market that just can be used as a reference in terms of like security things, right?
I wouldn't say that because we don't know. That's the right answer, right? There are vendors who are doing a ton of security things,
Yeah.
and I've been meeting them during like these meetings. It's just that we haven't sort of shown them in a way that is consumable by customers.
There are some vendors that have both SOC 2 and ISO 27001, right? But like we don't necessarily elevate that information, but they do it independent because they're, you know what I mean, that's what they do, and they have it done.
Because like, the reason I'm asking is that now there's a cloud security program, something, and it's really quite an expensive thing to implement. And I wasn't able to find any real vendor on the marketplace who would have this like checkbox, like marked as done. And I asked on the community, like, hey, just have anyone done that? And like, what are the guidelines for that? Because like the policy is really limited in terms of like if describing like what needs to be done is like you should have this and this and this, but it's not detailed. Like it's not explained. So I'm trying to find any reference. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to be a secure, successful vendor on the marketplace. So any reference would be amazing. Like any real example would be really helpful.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'll take this. That's a good feedback. One thing I would say is the current cloud security program is sort of a self-assessment program. We review it, but like not at the level that you would expect from a security review per se, right? But like we want to change that. We want to be able to showcase vendors who are actually doing good security things, and that's one of the sort of what you call agendas for my team.
Yeah. I think Har, you might have had a reference to it or a link to it, but we also have some security best practices on developer.atlassian.com on the marketplace docs. It's fairly new. I mean, it's only probably a couple months ago we published it. If you saw like Kane Narroway's talk from the security team at Atlas Camp, like it's kind of a lot of that content, but a little bit more verbose. And that's good because there's nothing in it that you would say like, shit, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. You'll understand it, right? So yeah, honestly, even the ISO 27001, like just saying that just makes it sound awful. But it's readable and understandable. It's digestible. And the smaller your company, often the cheaper those certifications are, right? And yeah, less time. Any other questions for Hari? All right, swell. Thanks everyone, and thanks Hari.
Thanks.